TCI is brought to you by Spendthrift's Line of David, whose first crop colts on the Derby Trail include California Derby winner Cross the Line and Grade 1 placed Firing Line.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Triple Crown. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Well, Joel, we're back. We're ready to go for another Triple Crown. I think this is going to be our 6th season following these horses as we look towards the Triple Crown. Man, it's fun. This is my favorite time of year.
It really is, John. I mean, the weather's not so good, but in terms of, racing around the country, we're really learning about these 3-year-olds. We've seen some good performances already this year, but quite honestly, the most talented 3-year-olds, the ones that were good 2-year-olds, have not really seen them run yet, and I think we're going to start this weekend in the Holy Bull, so a great weekend to start.
Well, look, a lot's happened since the Breeders' Cup. Let's take a look and see where these horses are right now as far as points moving forward. We got this from KentuckyDerby.com, so this is the official list, how many points that you see. And one thing I like when I look at this list, I really like to see horses that are coming back. You see Daredevil in there. He's back, training well. You got American Pharaoh. I mean, this is a horse that, he's a 2-year-old champion. He's back doing well, and, you got some reports on where he may be pointed next.
Yeah, I think you're going to see him next in the San Felipe. So going to get him going around 2 turns, and, that's in February. He is back at the track training right now. Daredevil, I mean, that's another intriguing colt, John. The way he won the Champagne, he was real wide on a hot pace in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That was not his type of race setup, but a horse that has a ton of talent when you look at that Champagne win. Interested to see what they do with him, and Pletcher will keep his horses all separated. We know that. Carpe Diem, Windstar, they've shown they're willing to go anywhere in the country, wherever it gives them an advantage for him to have the best path to Kentucky. And by points, I think you're already seeing 2 horses that are going to be in the Derby. I mean, Ramsey's not going to miss an opportunity, and 21 points, frankly, probably gets him in the gate at this point. El Kabir, Zayat Stables as well. Talented horse on the that's up and coming, having won at Churchill over that surface and then returned to win the Jerome. So a horse on the New York circuit that's getting really good right now.
It's interesting. You see Mr. Z in there. He's a horse that's got a ton of talent. He just has not been able to find the winner's circle yet. Tell me, what do you think about him?
He's kind of like their Nero this year. Another horse that had some talent, ran quite a bit, but ran second a lot. Could not break through. He's a consistent sort, John. I don't like the way he may have maybe taken a step back. He's run a lot. I need to see more from Mr. Z going forward in the Rebel or whatever circuit they take going forward.
All right, well, let's take a look here. Last year you had California Chrome and you had Toneless. Those were the 2 horses that won the Classics. California Chrome was just a listed stakes winner at this point, and Toneless had just broke his maiden on the 18th of January. So it's kind of interesting. We see as the years go on, that 2-year-old form, it just doesn't seem as important anymore than it did in years past.
Yeah, and remember Bodemeister. I mean, a horse that was favored in the Derby, only a handful of starts. He was another horse that didn't break his maiden until he was a 3-year-old. So we're seeing that trend change, John, with the training strategies and these horses getting together, later on in their careers and not having that 2-year-old foundation. Obviously, California Chrome had a ton of 2-year-old foundation. He just didn't get good and out of the state bred ranks until he turned 3 and got around 2 turns and really developed, and we saw that. And he was a horse that was off our radar and a lot of people's radars around this time of year, and then he really kicked it in at Santa Anita, and the rest is history. So there's a ton of different ways to get to the Derby, but we are seeing that trend change to where a horse can pop up right now early in his career, a horse that nobody maybe knows about right now, and be that player in the first Saturday in May.
All right, well, let's take a look at this weekend's race. So we had a few, Derby preps already this year, but the Holy Bull always really kicks off that Triple Crown season. And it's interesting, the 2 favorites in here, very similar to what you see with California Chrome and Toneless. We have a listed stakes winner in Upstart, and we have a horse that's just a maiden winner in Frosted. They look like they'll be your favorites in the Holy Bull.
Both these colts look legit to me. I mean, just from a talent perspective and, just the potential to go on. I mean, you talk about a horse like Upstart, never run a bad race in his life. He's run fast. He's carried good company. When you look back at the Champagne runner-up over a sloppy, quirky track that day to Daredevil, we talked about how awesome he was in there. And then to have to ship out west at Santa Anita, draw the 11 hole, have a wide trip after not breaking so well, and still running a game 3rd in there. I mean, this colt shows up every time. Looking at his work pattern, I can't see him not showing up again here, and he draws a little outside again here today. I think that'll be good for him, Gulfstream, even though there is a short run to that first turn, but I don't see a ton of speed in this race. You have some cross entries in here. Be interesting to see what they'll, a couple of these horses will do. Like, you got Bluegrass Singer in here that could run in the Hutchison. Certainly you have Don the Bomb in here that could run in the Hutchison as well. 2 horses with a lot of tactical speed. So I think Upstart has enough tactical speed to put himself in a good position. You don't want to be far off the pace of Gulfstream. We've learned that.
Well, and then you mentioned Frosted. You know, this horse ran second in a graded stake as well in the Remsen. He's making his 3-year-old debut as well. And what do you think there?
Well, and we're going to release a TCI Top 10 next week. We don't have an initial one for our debut show here. I want to see how the Holy Bull unfolds, but if I had one, this horse would be very prominent on it. I just think he has a lot of talent and upside. You know, he sort of got lost in the Remsen there. There was a speed bias that day. To me, he just kind of ran in spots, but I think he wants to run all day. I think he has a lot of upside for Kieran McLaughlin. He draws a rail in here. You know, I don't think that's going to be a bad spot for him. He will have to break to get solid position and a clean trip, but here's a horse that I think has a real opportunity to break through this weekend. He would actually be my pick in the race.
All right, now one claim to fame that you have is that you picked Orb as an allowance winner this time. You know, tell me, is there a race this weekend where you can maybe pick a horse that you think could potentially be an Orb this year?
Yeah, and that was on the Holy Bull undercard. You know, he had just broken his mane in Aqueduct. And another horse that was an up-and-coming type horse, weren't on a lot of people's radars at that point.
Right.
Won an allowance race at Gulfstream, propelled him to victories in the Fountain of Youth, and obviously the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby, and the rest was history from there. I do think there is that race. I mean, the 4th race Saturday at Gulfstream, Todd Pletcher has 2 horses in. Both have a lot of talent. Blame Game, a son of Blame, out of a Corleone mare, broke his maiden open length sprinting at Gulfstream. Here's a horse that is bred to go 2 turns. You expect him to improve, you know, going a mile this Saturday. And Over Control, a $725,000 Rapoli stable, son of Tappet, another Todd Pletcher horse that won first time out of Gulfstream. You expect him to improve going to a mile as well. So both those colts, you know, Mary Lou Whitney family, and it has an Unbridled Song that's interesting. Gorgeous Bird with Joel Rosario up. So there's a lot of talent on the undercard. We see that in the maiden races, the allowance ranks this time of year. And like we said, those horses have plenty of time to break through, still make it to the gate Saturday in May.
All right, Joel, we're just getting started. We got a lot of races to talk about. It's going to be a fun season, man. Let's see if we can get a Triple Crown winner this year.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll recap the Holy Bull.